Good evening, everyone. My name is Rudy Page, and welcome to our special Homeward Bound Creativity Show. And our theme is A Poem from My Thoughts. And I'm really pleased that we've got Deanne Heron, author extraordinaire, and we're in for a great dialogue this evening. It's been said before, the future is uncertain, but this uncertainty is at the very heart of human creativity. Creativity is about unleashing the potential of the mind to conceive new ideas. Innovation is about introducing change into existing systems and developing competencies to make new ideas viable. And what underpins all these ideas and thoughts and concepts is culture, cultural understanding, cultural connections, understanding heritage, land of origin, and legacy. So I'm so pleased to when I meet somebody that in their creative output, they're able to blend all of these activities, and at the end of the day understand that collaboration is key to attainment. Welcome, Deanne Heron.
Thank you very much, Rudy. Hello, everybody. It's lovely to be here.
Good to see you again. So, Deanne, first of all, before we get going under our theme today of a poem from your thoughts, or a poem from my thoughts, I should say, tell us a bit about yourself in terms of your background, family background.
Okay, all right. Well, I was born in Kingston, the capital of Jamaica, which is where my mom was living at the time. And then my mom was sent for, as we call it, by my aunt and uncle. So she left me with my grandma in Portland, which is on the northeast coast of Jamaica. And I lived there with my grandma for 3 years, because unfortunately I lost my grandma when I was 6, and I had to go and live with my cousin and then an aunt, and my mom sent for me. I came to England when I was 9 years old, and now you're going to know my age now. So this was in 1967, and I am one of the Windrush Generation. And when I came to Britain, like everybody said, when I first saw smoke coming out the chimneys, I thought the houses were on fire. And the first time I saw snow and touched it, and I threw it away and screamed and ran into the house. So, so I have lived in Manchester, Northern England, since I came here in the 60s, and that's where I live now. So
Okay.
Dual heritage.
Definitely. So what was your first job after leaving school?
Now I had a Saturday job at a store in the centre of Manchester, Littlewoods. They're not there anymore. But my first job was with the Inland Revenue. I applied for a job as a clerical officer, and I didn't get that one, but they offered me a job as a clerical assistant instead. Yeah. So that was my first job.
Okay. So what work have you been doing in recent years?
Now, if you've got a couple of hours, Rudy, I could tell you all about that, because I have done so many things. As well as working for the Inland Revenue, I then worked for the local authority. I started off again as a clerical assistant, worked my way up to being a manager. I managed the refuge for women, homeless women. Mm-hmm. And again, I've managed lots of other places. I managed a refuge for ethnically diverse women and children fleeing domestic violence. And then I decided that I wanted to spend more time with my children, because I have 2 daughters. So I decided to give up all of that and become a foster carer. So I've been a foster carer for a private agency for over 22 years in May this year. Okay. So I've done that. I'm also qualified person-centered counsellor and CBT therapist and trainer, because I used to work for a local organisation where I trained people who wanted to become counsellors. And I've done lots of things really. I've gone into schools for Black History Month. I've done Black History presentations for schools, gone into old people's homes and done writing workshops with them to get them to share their stories. I could go on forever, but those are
Yeah.
the main things that I've done.
So I can see you're passionate about culture and heritage and legacy. But why do you do the work that you do? What drives you to do that?
Because Rudy, I just feel I love that expression about the village mentality.
Mm.
I just feel that we all have a responsibility for each other. And the elders should be brought together with the children. They should share their stories with the children. And that is what allows children to know who they are and to help them to go to university, and well, not even to go to university, just to get a good job and, do something rather than end up on the streets and getting themselves into trouble. So I do what I do because I love Black history for a start. So whatever I learn, I like to share. So that's, a good way of sharing. And I get the elders when I go into the old people's homes, I say to them, speak to your grandchildren, tell them what you did when you came here, and it's good for their mental health as well. So, it's a two-way thing. And, I just love sharing and, sharing history, making sure we know who we are.
Absolutely. And of course, the Caribbean community, we are a community of hope and resilience.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Hope and resilience. I like that one.
So, how many books have you had published and what inspired you to write?
Okay, I have had 5 books published so far, and I've got them here. There's the first one I published was this one called Pardner Money Stories, and it's a collection of short humorous stories written in English with Jamaican patois dialogue, and basically it captures all my memories from my childhood in Jamaica to when I came to Manchester, and the amazing Caribbean community that supported each other, and the Pardner was the center of all of that, and the lady who managed the Pardner, because nobody had phones then, we didn't have mobile phones, most people didn't have house phones. So if something was happening, you would tell the Pardner lady, and she would pass it on. If you were getting married, you were having a baby, somebody had died. So I decided to call my stories Pardner Money Stories. And the picture on the front of this is where I used to, in Jamaica, where I used to play as a little girl. I took a photograph of it by the beach when I went. And so I wrote that one. And then the people who read it said to me, "Whoa, Dan, you need to write more. I love it." So then I wrote volume 2, Pardner Money Stories. Yeah. And my poetry, I love writing poems because I call my poetry my poetic therapeutic processing. So I wrote volume 1 of Contemplation, volume 2 of Contemplation, and I'm about to have a 3rd and 4th volume called the COVID era, which has helped me to make sense of everything that's going on. And last of all, sorry, nearly forgot, this huge thing you can use to knock somebody out with. It's the Mandari Chronicles, and it's a huge science fiction novel, 3 books in one.
That sounds like a film.
Well, again, people who've read it have said yes, they can see it being a box office hit.
Great. I hope so. And before we move on, Deanne, where are those books available from? Where can people get
Well,
them?
they're all available on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon, you can buy them from there. And they're available, I think, in some bookshops. I forget the name of the particular bookshop where they're in, but I have a website. So the main place to go to is my website, which is all the W's, www.Pardner Money Stories, and Pardner spelled in different ways, but I spell it Pardner. So pardnermoneystories.co.uk. And if you forget, just Google my name, Deanne Heron, Deanne Heron, and you'll see loads of stuff about me that I didn't even know was there.
Excellent. So who are your role models and why?
My main role model, I think, was the person we call Miss Lou, and it's Louise Bennett Coverley. And she's a comedian, writer, she does all sorts of things from Jamaica. And I remember sitting on my aunt's veranda when I was a little girl with my cousins, and we'd listen to Miss Lou at night. But when I left, because of the racism I suffered at school, I had to lose my patois accent almost overnight. But when I left home, I decided I needed to learn to speak patois again. So I used to listen to Miss Lou, and that was how I learned to speak Jamaican patois again. And another person is Maya Angelou, because she's an amazing poet. That woman has been through so much and she's passed on now. But the strength that she had just motivated me to try things. And last of all, Michelle Obama, because again, I think she is an amazing woman. You know, so yeah, those are my main role models, I think. But maybe my grandma as well, because I think she was the one who gave me the strength that I had initially to do things.
Yes, and of course she would be proud of you looking down.
Hopefully she's in heaven looking down at me and maybe pointing her finger. Don't be silly, girl. Don't do anything silly.
Of course, of course. Right, so today's dialogue is about a poem from my thoughts, and I'm now going to leave the space for you to introduce us, and over to you.
Okay. Well, it's a short story in poetry form. So, you know, I'm going to read that for you. And it's about Jamaican independence. And it said Jamaica got independence in 1962. And this is a summary of all the things about Jamaican independence. So it's my way of passing on history, but in a way that, you know, you might find interesting rather than thinking, oh, no, not history. So Jamaica independence, 1962. Last Sunday, I'm at my house for dinner. The conversation turned in a big political conference. When me ask if anybody remember 1962, when Jamaica get independence, everybody have story to tell about illuminated flag and bunting. So me just pick the best of all. The share of the historic memories 60 years ago, my extended family could recall. Me remember, sir, me a little pick me. I there my grandmother knee when me hear everybody a shout. And me did join in the excitement of 2 public holidays, but me never know what it was all about. Uncle Al lick him lip and say, the woman them dress up in white blouse and red and white plaid skirt. Auntie Bliss cut her high and said, the man them hair cut and shave and smell sweet in a them matching plaid shirt. We bust tune in a town and country with garden party, lick drum pan and prance from float, Mama said. Lord, missus, with the drunk on the parade and dancing competition, we make enough noise to wake the dead. Cousin Mara said, she not think even King David in the temple jumped so high and could match them the fancy foot dance. When the competition make man now stand up on them head and woman kick up foot, lift up frock and prance. We party hard and late in the night we are frightened puss and dog with the fireworks we call clappers. We write sweet lyrics in poetry and speech competition and festival songs that would have shame today out of other rappers. Then, after we finish party, eat curry goat and rice and drink ginger beer and white rum, we get serious, because Jamaicans not only good for skin teeth, roll eye, and act like we dumb. Now the world is our oyster, and the real freedom our ancestors had fought for at last had come. Cousin Babsy remind us that all school children had to learn the national anthem, the pledge, motto, not to mention the meaning of the colors of the new Jamaican flag. She said, when she gets her free cup with the coat of arms, our flag and pen, in case them take it back, she put them quick in her school bag. Auntie Bliss now get jealous and not to be outdone, says she was at the new Kingston National Stadium. She said, the British Union flag come down and remember the polite applause, cause conscious Jamaicans not lick shot without good cause. So the crowd broke out and cheer, and not one bad man gunfire as the Jamaican black, green, and gold flag went up higher and higher. Mama said the Queen sent Princess Margaret and her husband, the Earl of Snowdon, and President John F. Kennedy sent for him Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson. And she didn't know why them didn't come themselves to witness Jamaica's special day, considering the big part little Jamaica play in the history and wealth of Britain and the USA. Prime Minister Sir Alexander Bustamante And Norman Manley, leader of the opposition, just stared, thinking, I guess, about serious times, as them witnessed the birth of the new baby and contemplated prosperity and the ties that bind. What a pity Sam Sharp couldn't live to see it. Paul Bogle and William Garden, Ghost me sure was smiling there with all the rest, like Nanny and the Maroons, whose blood watered Jamaican soil over the years, Africa's fiercest and best. Mama asked suddenly if we remember Auntie Mary's second cousin brother, the one them called Jake. Auntie Bliss said, yes, the one that was a Royal Navy petty officer on board the cruiser HMS Blake. He was in Kingston to provide the Royal Guard and the National Stadium. And Auntie Mary was so proud when she spotted him in his crisp uniform and waved to him politely from the crowd. We lift we head high like a child, we turned big and reached 21, brave and leaving home. We were strong and fearless like lion. We saw no obstacles that we couldn't overcome. So we settled down. We worked behind politicians them and educated businessmen, because we don't know the sword is needed sometimes, but it not mightier than the pen. We made big plans for the future to extend industry and agriculture with chests swell and full up with pride. But we didn't know then just how rough was going to be the political and economic ride. Years pass, hard times come, till some give up the dream and find solace in a ganja and white room. Some go in a church and pray to God, they lick Satan in I'm head side and for rescue to come. Others decide to them now give up, but them now bother look the paradise, our kingdom on earth. Them emigrate, take Marcus Garvey advice and return to Africa, the country of our ancestors' birth. The faithful few work hard for well below minimum wage and still carry the baton when them tired to run. Strong Jamaica on IMF uneven playing field, where road rocky and hard, till people buck to, stumble and tumble down. Foreigners are buy up land and business now, but the diaspora spread far and wide, still waving the flag, give us hope. And at home and abroad, descended from warriors, we know how to survive. We catch what them throw and cope. We watch the wealth of bauxite, sugar, rum, and coffee for pennies to the USA and Europe sail across the sea, not walk. But when you're hand in a lion mouth and you can't match ants, missus, you have to embrace patois and watch how you talk. So, what about the Jamaica Independence Festival, Mama asked, and the new song we have every year? The one Mr. Edward Siaga said we mobilize the spirit of the people and keep them in good cheer. Oh, it's still a going, Mama, no fret, Auntie Bliss said. From the Maytals with the song called Bam Bam, come right down to the 2018 entry by O'Neill Nazarman Scott called Jamaica Are We Home? So we lick it back to the top and wheel and turn it round. The family stopped laughing, looking serious and bow head when Mama said, to reach that great milestone, we people really tried hard. Lord, all that suffering in slavery from beating and hanging and the bitter tears we cried. You young people need to know the history. Be proud of yourself and stop pointing the finger of blame. Even though 400 years after slavery, some people bad attitude, greed and envy still the same. You young ones, listen to me. On the need to grow and move on now, or our ancestors will have suffered in vain. We can't stay bitter forever. Not locked up physically, but brainwashed, not to know our worth, handicapped by mental chains. From Bustamante, Simpson Miller, now Andrew Holness, 60 years we have tried, work hard and pray. Work and pray hard. The things we look up and get better inequality, the poor people, in home and abroad. But those somehow know dash on the Bible, God not sleep, Windrush Generation, and one day things have to turn around. And little Jamaica, we have muscle, the turn republic, and kick out grey hair mother country and our teeth in crown. There you are.
Thank you very
Hey,
much for
Jamaica,
that.
1962.
Cultural excellence.
I hope you like that.
Excellent, excellent. And it reminds me a few years ago, Jamaica's cultural policy was headed towards a cultural superstate. So you've certainly made your contribution towards that.
I try.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So that was Deanne Heron. She's got great books, great stories. Just Google Deanne Heron and you'll be able to access. Thank you very much, Deanne.
You're welcome, Ruby. Thank you.
Good night.